Hello, ice cream friends. It's Chris with Slices Concession, and today we're taking a look at a Taylor 336. One thing that can happen sometimes with the Taylor machines is they have a separate compressor that cools your hoppers up here on the top of the machine where you pour in your ice cream mix. And those compressors have a relay or starter, I've heard both terms used, on them that can sometimes fail. And if you get it diagnosed, you might be told by a technician some improper information that you have a bad compressor and you need to get that replaced, which can be a pretty pricey proposition. So what we want to do is kind of empower you with knowledge here and show you that it's you can potentially fix a problem with that compressor with one little like $10 part. So we'll go ahead and get into it here and show you what you need to do. One thing I would recommend if you're going to be doing any of your own work on these machines is to pick up one of these guys right here. It's a little mini ratchet. It's made by a company called Sunex, and it's very, maybe now in that angle there you can see it. I got this from Amazon, and the whole set, it comes with some bits in a nice little case, and it runs about $10, and it's very worthwhile because there's, you'll see here in a moment, one particular area where it really comes in handy, actually a couple places in this machine. So the first thing you're going to do here is you've got this flap here, and this is on the left side of the machine. This process is going to be very similar for a Taylor 794. Couldn't tell you for sure that the hopper or auxiliary is the term that Taylor uses. Compressor maybe in a different location, but you still have to take the panels off kind of in the same manner. But for this specific application, we're dealing with the Taylor 336. So there's a slotted screw right here. We'll go ahead and take that out, and then you'll lift this panel up, and usually I just kind of hold it with my head, and then you'll see there's two screws, one here and one over there. And if I can keep my fingers out of the way here, where this little ratchet comes in really handy is that's a 1/4 inch drive on there, and that can slip right over those screws right there to loosen those up. And the reason that works really well is that it's sometimes hard to get a normal screwdriver or nut driver in there, and the fact that this is at a right angle here makes it a lot easier to loosen those screws up. So I'm going to go ahead and get those ones out, and then there's two more down here. There's one right down there you can see, and another one right there. Get those two out. Once you have those 4 screws out, this panel will come off, and I'll continue on here in just a moment once I have the panel removed. Okay, now before I go any further, one thing that I should have mentioned at the start of this video is that it is very important to have the machine unplugged. So you want no power going to the machine at all, because we're going to be getting into the electrical components here. So this right here is your hopper or auxiliary compressor, and we're going to need to take this cover right here off, and that is once again where that little tiny ratchet comes in handy, and I'll show you here in just a moment why. Okay, so I need to take this black plastic cover off here, and you can see with my normal size screwdriver it's practically impossible. So this handy little guy here It comes with that set of bits as I was mentioning, and then you're going to get it right on the side right there. There's a Phillips screw. And all you're going to do is just loosen it. And usually what I can do is I can get it a couple turns, and then I pop out that screwdriver bit, just put it between my thumb and finger there, and just spin it out a little more. And just, you want to get just to where it's, you got enough clearance between it and that cover, and then that cover is just going to pop right off. Now, it's very important once you get that cover off to note the orientation of all of these wires here. So for example, this white wire with the black stripe on it goes to this connector right here. The white wire with no stripe goes to that connector on the bottom. And those are the only two you actually have to worry about. These two right here, it does not matter on the orientation. Those are going to this capacitor over here, and you can flip those around. It doesn't matter. So just as long as both of those are connected to these two terminals, this one here and that one there, it doesn't matter which one goes where. So now, what you're going to do, again, making 100% sure that the machine is unplugged, because if you go to grab one of these and it's not, 220 volts does not feel good through the body. What we're going to do is just pull off these wires, and if you grab them kind of like this, some come off easier than others. Just be careful. Just going to ease them off. Sometimes you have to wiggle them back and forth. It's easier to do with two hands. You have a little more control. But just kind of, you can see the general idea there. I'm going to go ahead and pause again and get all those wires off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got all those wires pulled off of that relay. And then what we're going to want to do is remove that relay from the compressor, and then if you just kind of get a screwdriver blade in behind there and just kind of gently pry on it, it will come off of those pins that you'll see here in just a moment. Just kind of go side to side like that, just gently. And then once you have it mostly loosened up there, just kind of wiggle it back and forth. You'll see it comes right off of those pins. And then what we'll need to do is take a look at the side of it. There are numerous versions of this particular relay here that all look the same, but they're not. So what we need to do is have you get this off and show it to us if we're going to send you one potentially, or to order from Taylor, or if you want to go online and try to find a source for these. It's very important that that number, that 117U, or whatever, it's that top number there that you want to match up, because if you get one that has a different number, the electrical ratings on them are different, and I have seen with personal experience that they don't work correctly sometimes. And I had one that actually even started arcing, like it was like sparking, putting the wrong one on. So it's very crucial that we get the right one, the exact same one, to replace the one that you take off. Now, one thing you can tell is if you see any like burn marks or anything on this, like if this little, we call it a witch hat. Some people call this a witch hat relay because of the way this looks. That little witch hat popped off. If you see any of the, where those copper wire there, if that's disconnected, sometimes people will tell you if you can hear a rattle in a relay, it's bad, but these rattle brand new, so that's not really a... Okay. Got interrupted by the by my alarm to turn the heat on in the break room for lunch. So kind of jumping back in here. What I was saying is that if you hear this relay shaking, that's not an indication it's bad. And there's not a way that I've found, and I've done quite a bit of research online, and I'll try to talk a little louder here over the heater, that I haven't found a way to actually electrically test these. Any reliable information on that anyways. So, but just again, make sure that you get the exact same one that you take off, and then put this back on, remembering the orientation of those two wires. The black one don't need to worry about, and then plug the machine back in, turn it back on, and if you have hopper cooling, great. If not, then it'll require a little more investigation, and we'll be happy to help you out with that. But we've seen a number of times where simply replacing this little $10 relay will get you back up and running. If you have any other questions about soft serve machines, batch freezers, margarita machines, anything frozen dessert related or frozen beverage related, we can certainly help you out. And you can find us online at www.slicesconcession.com. Thanks and have a great day.